Reading the headline, you're probably wondering, how are all these things connected? Don't worry, I'll connect the dots. But essentially, this is a tale of two men. One whom I think has a lot of courage, one whom I think has yet to display courage, one who is not virtue signaling at all, one who I think is grandstanding politically. You decide who's who. Anyway, in case you didn't know it, NPR and PBS have both now rage quit Twitter after being accurately labeled as government funded. Bloomberg ran an insane headline yesterday saying PBS joins NPR in quitting Twitter over state-backed label. In case you didn't know it, NPR and PBS are essentially government funded, just like the CBC here. They spread propaganda, they are one-sided, slanted, they are leftist, they are woke, they are all those things. And you and I, dear taxpayer, get to pay for them over here as they do in the US with NPR and PBS. What did PBS have to say? Well, here's what they came back with. PBS stopped tweeting from our account when we learned of the change, and we have no plans to resume at this time, PBS spokesman Jason Phelps said in an email. We are continuing to monitor the ever-changing situation closely. Now, what did the man who is single-handedly trying to bring transparency back to journalism and freedom of speech have to say? Guess they won't mind losing federal funding in that case, Elon tweeted, and followed up with another tweet saying, defund NPR. Yeah, I totally agree. I can totally get behind that. Let's defund the CBC. Let's defund all these organizations that effectively use our money to fight us. Now, the most interesting part of the story is that by rage quitting NPR and PBS, and by rage quitting Twitter, they are implicitly admitting that taking government money creates an impression of bias. Imagine that. Taking money from the people that feed you causes you to not speak out against them and propagandize the people in their favor. Couldn't imagine that happening. So, what does all of that have to do with Canada? Well, in Canada, the opposition Conservatives are asking Twitter to apply a government-funded label on accounts associated with the CBC. On Tuesday, Conservative leader Pierre tweeted a copy of a letter addressed to the company making the request. In the letter, Pierre asked that the label be applied to CBC's English news-related accounts, but for some odd reason, he didn't mention Radio-Canada, the broadcaster's French language arm. Now, that seems kind of odd, but here's my kind of thoughts on it. This is where, folks, the politicians play that little kind of political theater thing. Now, really, what Mr. Poilievre should be introducing in the bill in the House is a bill that calls for the elimination of the CBC. In fact, that's what he said on the leadership campaign, that he will get rid of the CBC. Now, to me, it doesn't sound like having them state-related or state-sponsored or government-funded is really getting rid of them. Does it sound like that to you? So, this would be a fantastic time for Mr. Poilievre to drop that set of balls he claims he has and take a leadership stand. I mean, will the CBC get defunded? Will the other people in Parliament join him? Who knows? But I don't care. At least it shows us that he is serious and he has a man of integrity and he's not afraid to see what happens. Now, also what'll happen is it'll put him on the record as well. It will put the Liberals and the NDP so taxpayers can know exactly where things stand. Now, of course, pretending to oppose the CBC in just, saying, hey, apply this label is very easy to do because, given what Elon's done already with NPR and PBS, that's definitely going to happen. It's not going to take much. Elon will be happy to throw that on. Now, the other thing that was kind of interesting is that he didn't ask for that label to be applied to Radio-Canada. Now, Radio-Canada, if last I remember, is primarily in Quebec. A lot of voters in Quebec. So he doesn't really want to offend them in any way because obviously CBC is very honest because when you translate from English to French, all the bias is gone. I guess that's how it works. I didn't know it worked that way, but hey, what do I know? I'm not in Ottawa. Anyway, folks, you be the judge. Who's the man of courage? Who's the man of virtue? I don't care, Pierre. I don't need you to throw labels or anything else. I need you to get in the game, brother. We are trying to save a country here. And you know what? You can do tiddlywinks, whatever the hell it is, and try to kind of soft shoe in the middle. But People are looking for true leadership. There has to be a distinction. It can't be liberal light with you. It has to be a distinct difference between the conservatives and the liberals. And if I can't see any, if essentially you're the same thing, you're like Miller Lite or Bud Light, it doesn't really do any good. Anyway, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Please post any comments you have in the comment section. You can also follow me on my Rumble on my Locals account. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. Get on board, and I will see you next time.